is Gilgeous-Alexander. McCollum staying with him. Spins, gets inside. Left-handed off the glass. Oh, what a sweet move.
Giddy, tough spot. Backdoor. What a pass. What a play. And J-Dub picks the pocket of Trae Young. He'll take it himself.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested, coming to you live Sunday, June 16th. So we are a week and a half away from the NBA draft. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. I've got my guy Nick Crane with me tonight.
Welcome to slop season.
We've also got Justin Peabody.
Hello, everybody. Right on cue. The pup.
Got the dogs barking. Taylor Peterson may join us shortly. No JD tonight. We are brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and the best fast casual food in OKC, Dave's Hot Chicken and Spark Burgers. We are also here live on YouTube. If you are joining the YouTube stream tonight, please make sure to hit that like button. Get in the comment section. That'd mean a lot. We love it when you guys drop the like. We love reading all of the deranged comments in the comments section. So please keep doing that. If you're watching the YouTube video after it's already aired live, still drop that like. And if you download the podcast from your podcast platform of choice, please leave a 5-star rating. Write a little review. It's been a while since we've had a review on the podcast platforms. So if you do that, that'd be great. Also, mark your calendars. The NBA draft coming up in a week and a half. That would be on, it's actually 2 nights, but I'm talking Wednesday, June 26th. I believe it starts at 7 p.m. Central Time. This will be, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, the 4th annual Uncontested Draft Night live stream.
I think it's 5th, actually.
5th?
I think we started 2020 COVID year.
We did. That was in November. So
Yeah.
The 5th annual. So who have we watched them draft live? We were there for Poku. Who was after Poku, Nick?
Gosh, Poku is 2021?
In November. No, Poku was 2020 in November.
Was he first COVID draft?
Mm-hmm.
The next season, 2022. Who was in that draft class?
That would have been Josh. No, Josh was 21.
Sorry, yeah.
Poku was 20. Josh was 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
22.
That was also Aaron Wiggins and
Yep.
Jay Will.
22 was Chet
A guy
J-Dub.
named Chet.
Yep.
23 was Kaysen.
Yep.
And then now this year with pick
And we're about
12.
to tell you guys, spoiler alert, we're about to tell you guys who they're going to draft in 2024. So make sure you stay on the
Can't
stream.
wait. So, mark, I mean, you guys already know when the NBA draft is. You don't need to mark your calendars, but make sure to join the Uncontested on the stream. If you are in OKC, there's a lot of like draft parties and hangouts going on, which is awesome. If you want to go to those, you can pull us up on your phone while you're there. If you are not in the OKC area or you are not going to a draft watch party, join the YouTube live stream. Have us going while you have ESPN on the TV. You got the Woj and the Shams notifications on your phone, and hang out with us as we go through the entire first round of the draft. And then afterwards, we will start up a new stream where we will react to what happened on draft night. If you've joined us before, you know how much of a blast it is. So tune in. If you haven't joined us before, it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. I think my favorite moment so far was my what the F is going on whenever we had no clue what was happening with the J-Dub trade on draft night. That was good. That was just an incredible moment. We will be giving you guys information about our mock draft contest soon. So everyone can join the mock draft contest. We will have prizes to give away for that. And then we got vibes. What else we got, Justin, besides some prizes and some vibes? I don't know.
That's all we bring to the table.
It's going to be a fun time, though. It's going to be a blast. We will be live for like 4 hours that night. It's so much fun. I can't wait. So make sure to tune in, join us, draft night for the first round. The second round is like at 3 p.m. on Thursday. We're not going live for the second round, folks. But the first round will be a blast. So tune in, hang out, mark your calendars, set the YouTube notifications on so you can join us for all the draft night shenanigans as we react live to all the picks, all the trades. Maybe one Nick Crane will even make a guest appearance at some point that night.
I always do. Don't act like it's a new thing. I always come for a little bit.
Nick will bless us with his presence.
Mm.
Speaking of Nick, there are a few times in the history of this podcast where I just hand over the reins to Nick and let him go hog wild. Tonight's one of those nights,
Got
though.
that hog in him.
Got that
Okay.
hog in him. If you were around last year for the draft, you will remember the Nick Crane spreadsheet, PowerPoint, blind eval, select a draft prospect. It was a hit. So we got to go back for round 2. Nick has been slaving on the computer, cooking up stuff, and he is going to try to figure out who Justin and I want to draft this season at pick 12. Maybe higher, maybe lower.
Yeah.
We'll see. I will let Nick explain everything. Nick, I am exiting the cockpit. I am opening the door. You are now flying the plane. It is a Boeing 737, so please make sure the doors stay intact. And take us on a ride, my friend.
Fantastic. Yeah, so the spreadsheet and the PowerPoint exercises are actually different. So expect the spreadsheet magic to come later this offseason. Tonight's exercise is strictly PowerPoint.
Nick Crane brought to you by Microsoft Office.
Yes, we do have somebody that's like quite literally paid the big bucks to do stuff like this, and Justin. So hopefully it doesn't score me too low on my
This looks great so far, Nick.
my exercise here. But the whole point is whether you follow the draft closely or whether you get your information from Twitter or whether you have no idea what's going on with this upcoming draft class, what always tends to happen is there's name bias. Whether it's the school a guy plays for or your favorite podcaster's opinion on them will sway your opinion. And oftentimes you don't really have enough of an eval to like say one way or the other. So you just go with it. So there's a lot of guys every year that I feel the average Twitter fan will be out or in on the guy, but it's because of what they heard and they don't actually know. So this exercise is meant to like remove the bias, blindly evaluate these prospects. Blind may not be the right word. Maybe it's more like an unbiased. But we've got some rules for you so you can see these here. So look, the formatting is already going wonky on StreamYard, but rule number 1, this is my show.
Wow.
I make the rules. You don't complain. There will be opportunity to ask questions about each of these prospects, but I will answer what I want to answer. And if I don't, I won't. It's part of the exercise. So just go with the flow.
Yes, sir.
There will be grammatical errors, spelling errors, formatting errors throughout. So just roll with it. Second rule, mostly for Taylor if he joins. Don't spoil. If you know who the prospect is based on the eval that I'm describing, don't shout it out and say who it is because that ruins the entire exercise, right? So if you know, you can like give your opinion one way or the other, but don't shout out who it is. Same with you guys in the chat. It's a 3x5 format this year, so it's actually a little bit more expansive than last year. We've got 15 prospects we're going to be evaluating in 3 different groups: guards, wings, bigs, 5 in each group. Okay. What's going to work or how it's going to work? We're going to start with guards. You're going to narrow it down to your favorite guard. We're going to go to wings. You're going to narrow it down to your favorite wing. Jacob, what on earth is going on? That was an insane visual. And then
I think he said his dog's in the room, just for anyone who's wondering. But
yes.
My guy was fighting it.
For a lot of reasons, you have to watch this show like visually on YouTube, whether it's live or after the fact. But that was incredible. Then we'll go to bigs. The 5 bigs will be strung down to 1. And then we'll have 3 prospects left, or narrow it down to those 3. And then you'll pick the person that you want to draft. Okay. At that point, like you can talk about like positional fit and like what the team needs. Whereas the first round, looking at the 5, getting it to 1, it's like all guards. So it's less important. Last year, it's worth noting, I don't think anybody on this pod wanted to draft a guard last year. It was already like, there's too many guards. When the blind eval was all said and done, the pod came to the consensus that Cason Wallace was the right player for the team. Guess what? Cason Wallace was the pick. So let's hope we can go back to back.
You heard it here first. Whatever we land on, it's happening.
I mean, if all we can go off of is history, we're 100%.
I like
Simple
it.
enough.
I like it.
Justin, any questions on the format, the rules, how it's going to work?
All clear for me.
Okay, perfect. We will move to the draft board. We got, again, guards, wings, bigs. I'll cross these guys off as we go, kind of on the side. I can't control PowerPoint within StreamYard, but I'll do some magic on the side here on my side. So, guard number 1. Again, if you guys are not watching this, you will be at a disservice, but I will verbally tell you guys everything on the screen in case you are listening to the pod. So, we're going to have biometrics, strengths and weaknesses, and then a scout quote for each player. So, guard 1, standard height for an NBA guard. He has a sturdy build. He played for a huge Power 5 school. Recently turned 20 years old. Is a former top 10 high school recruit. So that's kind of like him and his background, right? In terms of strengths and weaknesses, he shot better than 40% from beyond the arc last season. One of the best free throw shooters in the country. Had 4 games with 5 or more made threes last season, including 2 games with 8 or more made threes. All 3 of his 30-point games came in the final 5 weeks of the regular season, meaning he got better as the year went on. Good positional rebounder. Could struggle against bigger guards defensively at the next level. And as of today, the eval would suggest he's better off ball. Like he could play some combo guard, but he's definitely not a pure point guard, right? The scout quote: too many people are overthinking guard 1. He's done nothing but prove he's a reliable scorer who is also a fan favorite. He may never be a star, but he will be in the league for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if he averaged 20 points a game on 40% 3-point shooting one day.
Wow.
That's
I do
guard 1.
think I have a guess on who this might be. So I will try to not let that cloud my judgment.
Good. Especially because you could be wrong. Like you could be in or out of the guy.
Could be wrong. That is true. That is very true. I like the off-ball aspect here. Obviously, like the Thunder have made huge strides in 3-point shooting over the last few years. But you look at this team, it's hard to argue against adding a guy that shoots better than 40% from deep who doesn't need the ball in his hands. Like, what team doesn't want that? Like, what team doesn't that fit? You can find a role for that type of guy on literally any team in the NBA. Struggling against other guards defensively or against bigger guards defensively, like, I don't feel like that's a huge deal with this Thunder team. Good positional rebounder, you'll take that. I think there's a lot of things to like with this guy. Like I said, it doesn't feel like he would have a hard time fitting on any team in the NBA.
Agreed. All right, we will move to guard number 2. We can come back and revisit as you guys narrow down who will be the guard to come out of this group.
Okay.
Guard number 2. Another guy that's kind of standard height for an NBA guard. He's got an athletic build. He played for 2 different programs between high school and the NBA draft. Okay. He was the Conference Player of the Year last season, a former 4-star recruit. That's his background. Okay. Dynamic scorer who averaged more than 20 points a game last season, plays with a high motor, is an elite rebounder. He had more than a dozen games with 4 or more stocks, that's blocks or steals, last season. His assist percent and rebound percent were both above 23 last season, which is like really, really dang good for a guard. He's a disruptive defender, fights over screens. He's comfortable switching onto bigger players. He had 90 total stocks last season. The question is like, is his 3-point shot real? He had an outlier good season last year from beyond the arc, and his assist to turnover ratio is not great. Not bad, not great. The quote from the scout, if guard 2 lands on a playoff team, he will be part of the rotation as a rookie. He has that dog in him and knows how to impact winning.
Love anybody that has the dog in them.
Criteria number 1. What do you like about this guy and what scares you maybe?
Yeah. There, again, a lot of things to like. High motor, elite rebounder, dozen games with 4+ stocks, disruptive defender, like all that feels like Thunder DNA. That, like, again, that's exactly what you look for in a Thunder player, regardless of position, right? The motor, the rebounding, disruptive defender, like that kind of fits the mold of who the Thunder are going for. Those last 2 bullets, obviously, big concerns. 3-point shot, outlier, or real. I think you can evaluate some of that in workouts and things like that. But if there's a concern with shooting, I think you might have a hard time winning space on the floor with this Thunder team, because we've seen what happens when guys on this team are not reliable outside shooters. Assist to turnover ratio, again, evaluating that, I think if that ratio is not so great, what's causing those turnovers? Is it poor basketball IQ? Because if so, that's probably a deal breaker. Feels like Presti in Thunder 2.0 rebuild has really valued basketball IQ. Yeah. So if it's just he's not making the right play, that's going to be a tough sell. If it's, oh, he made good plays, but he, played on an okay team, sure, and, they all fumbled his passes and they were turnovers, like that's a different story. You'd have to dig a little bit deeper onto that stat. I feel like the played for 2 different programs between high school and draft should be a giveaway, but I have no idea who that is. And I'd be curious about like the context behind that. I know it's a new world in between high school and the NBA, but I think the Thunder have had more than their fair share of untraditional paths to the NBA. So that's probably not a deal breaker, but I'd be curious to understand that a little bit more.
Okay. Based on what you know, like, love, hate, like where you at in guard 2?
I think I like guard 1 better, but not bad.
Okay. Love it. We will move on to guard 3. Here he is. So guard 3, very different than the first 2. He's a jumbo guard with a sturdy build. He played a significant role on a prestigious team last season, but he missed the combine. And he's unknown in some ways because of that. Like, you've seen him on tape, you've seen him in person. He wasn't at the combine for one reason or another. He's only 18 years old. Kind of a mystery box, right? Strengths and weaknesses. Phenomenal playmaker. Is known for putting pressure on the rim. In fact, he averaged almost 7 attempts at the rim per game this season as a guard. Shot nearly 90% from the line. Has solid touch on offense. Don't want to give away his exact height, but he's taller than guys like SGA and J-Dub. He hovers around 30% from beyond the arc. He's not a great rebounder given how tall he is. Okay. You better not be Googling stuff either.
I am not Googling stuff.
Okay. Scout quote. I'm not sure there's a better passer in this class. Guard 3's vision is off the charts, and he fits the ideal mold of a modern jumbo guard. If his jumper continues to improve, we could be talking about one of the better offensive engines in the league one day. Thoughts, questions, comments?
I have a decent guess on this one as well. Okay. I think that the raw prospect aspect here, the unknown, that probably is giving some Thunder fans PTSD. There's been more than a few times, like I said, of prospects. We just talked about some, right? Like Poku. that I feel like would probably create some nervousness around this guy. But when you look at the strengths and weaknesses, there's a lot to like. Playmaker, great. Size, great. Free throw shooting, great. Touch, great. Like all that feels really nice. The rebounding, 30% from 3, not great. So that's where I would start to ask the question again of like, if you're shooting 90% from the free throw line, 30% from 3, what's driving that disparity? Is it the quality of shots? Is it the team you were playing on, the system you were playing on? There could be a lot to unpack there. That could be a number, especially with Chip England, that gets fixed. You'd maybe like to see a little more from rebounding, but again, that scout quote at the end, I think, is really nice to hear. Like the passing compliment to this team, I think could be nice, especially if, and I'm saying if, don't anyone freak out, but like if Giddey moves somewhere else, adding another like playmaker with good vision, especially if he's as tall as this says he is, that could be a fun addition.
Love it. Where's he at compared to the first two guards?
That's a good question. I'm still intrigued by the idea of unknowns. I'm not scared off them yet. Like I think probably some Thunder fans are. So like I would swing on potential a little bit. I think I'd put him 2. I think guard 1's still my top right now.
Wow. Okay.
But I think I'd put this guy at number 2.
Okay. Love it. Next guard is guard 4. Another jumbo guard, though some may consider him more of a wing, right? Kind of a combo guard wing. Sturdy build, has a wealth of experience, maybe not in years, but he's played professionally. He's played in FIBA. He's played a lot of different places against a lot of different types of competition. He's grown a ton in recent years. And he's a big recruit that was initially born in Europe. He stands at 6'9", comfortable handing the ball, can play 2 through 4. When you look at his numbers, though, he only took double-digit shot attempts in 5 games last season. So small role in terms of offensive volume. He was 40% from beyond the arc last season, and almost 70% of his shot attempts were from beyond the arc. So shot diet and volume are pretty clear here from this eval. Hasn't proven he can score on volume because of that. He's more of like a tertiary option right now. He's also not known for generating a high number of assists. So very different than some of these other guards. Yeah. Scout quote, with guard 4, you're getting a super versatile prospect who can play several positions. He has a high floor with the shooting, but also an incredibly high ceiling. It's kind of the best of both worlds.
Okay. 6'9" jumps off the page. If we're talking guards, like you think about a 6'9" guard coming on, that's Giddey, right? Like
with 40% 3-point shooting.
Giddey with 40%. Yeah,
but clearly lacks the passing, given he's not a high assist guy.
If we could mesh this guy and Giddey, I'm sold. Yeah, the 3-point shooting is insane. The only took double-digit shot attempts in 5 games is an absurd stat. My guy's shot diet looks like Nick Crane's in a pickup game.
No, I'm high volume though. That's the difference.
Tertiary option, like that works for me. That doesn't scare me, right? This team doesn't need that primary score. I think the playmaking, you could build some concerns around that, but I think size and shooting, that feels like you could get a lot of fun things out of that on this Thunder team.
I agree. He's different in the sense that like something as a tangent here that I enjoy as someone that like evaluates the draft is oftentimes when you're evaluating a player's fit on a given team, it's hard because in college and internationally, they're like the guy, and now you have to project like when he's not the guy, what does he look like? In this case, like he's probably playing the same role that we just described.
Right.
In Oklahoma City,
makes him an easier fit.
Sweet. Guard 5, and Justin, will let you kind of narrow down and pick the guard here, and then Jacob can have more of an influence on wings and bigs. But the last guard here, Moving on to guard 5. Back to the standard height for an NBA guard. We're no longer looking at the 6'9" kind of guards, but this guy's a strong build. Played in the Power 5 school, 19 years old, former top 10 recruit. Okay. Elite at getting to the rim and finishing. He's also great at setting the table for his teammates. Has really good natural guard instincts, but can also play off ball. Over his last 11 regular season games, he averaged roughly 19, 4, and 3 on 50% from the floor and 39% from 3. He averaged, this is a funny stat, he averaged 31, 8, and 6 per 100 possessions last season on the season. That's a good metric to kind of scale. Like the college game is very different. Has the ability to like control the game. Like he's just that point guard that can control the game. Needs to improve his 3-point shot. As you can see, the last 11 games, he shot it pretty well, but it's a situation where it's like probably needs to get more consistent and better. Can sometimes be turnover prone, but again, he's a natural lead guard with the ball in his hands a bunch. Upside certainly there. And his assist percentage was over 30%, which is ridiculous. So that is guard 5. And the scout quote, if guard 5 lands in the right situation, he has the upside to be an NBA All-Star one day. There's no question. His stock is all over the place when talking to teams, but several view him as one of the few in this class that does have potential star upside. Thoughts?
That feels very Presty-like, of like taking the guy that people are divided on, especially if, and I'm saying if, like with the way this draft is shaking out, that feels like the type of situation that Presty jumps on, right? Where he can get a good value. And I'm not saying this is like a value pick, but I think whenever you have a guy that's everyone like, oh, this guy's easily number 3, that's hard to trade for, even if you have the Thunder's war chest, because everyone knows exactly what he is. If there's more, I don't know, and more people are divided on it, that feels like a situation which Oklahoma City can capitalize. Thoughts on the actual strengths and weaknesses? It feels like you're hiding something by telling me his stats over the last 11 games. That makes me think his shooting wasn't as good the rest of the career. The per 100 possessions, like that's a wild, like you said, that's a wild stat. Those numbers are insane. The potential, obviously, like that jumps off the page as something you'd be interested in. The 3-point shooting and the turnover prone, like I'm having a little Russell Westbrook deja vu on that. Right? Like star upside could be an all-star potential, but turns the ball over a lot and can't shoot from outside. That also is why I question the shooting stats and why you only told me the last 11 games. So that there's some things to like. I think I'm less psyched about this candidate than some of the others.
Okay. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing you can take from so far is it's so easy to say this team doesn't need a guard. But all 5 of these guys are like very different players. Like saying a guard does not mean anything. You get to make a decision now. You also have the opportunity to ask questions if you're like between a couple of guys and you want to ask some questions. I can answer some questions.
But only if you want to.
Who
right?
are you? Maybe you're like your top 2 guards as you're thinking about it, or is somebody sticking out as like the guy?
I'm vacillating between 1 and 3.
Okay. So
guard 1 being
recap for the listeners and for Jacob, who's back now. Guard 3 was a jumbo guard that's mysterious because he missed the combine. He's 18 years old. Great playmaker, incredible vision. Not a great rebounder, 3-point shooter, but he's like young and mysterious. Guard 1 was, kind of a standard sturdy build. Recently turned 20, 40% from deep. Had 2 games this year with 8 or more made threes. Had 3 30-point games in the last month of the season. Got better as the year went on. Kind of an off-ball guard, but can play some point guard. And the scout said that he wouldn't be surprised if he averaged 20 points a game on 40% shooting one day from beyond the arc. You have questions, any clarification, or did you just want to get a recap and you made your decision based on the recap?
Kind of. I'm feeling guard 1 after all is said and done. He stood out at the beginning. I think, like I said, there's not a team in the NBA that this profile doesn't feel like it would fit on. A knockdown scorer that doesn't need the ball in his hands, like, sign me up.
Okay. Question for you too. I think there's two ways we can go about this. I could tell you who the other 4 guards are now, since they're fresh on your mind. That could also like sway your opinion if you thought guard 1 was somebody else and you're like, oh, wow. Do you want me to give you the 4 guys you didn't pick, or do you want me to wait till the end whenever it's not as fresh?
Give them now.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll forget.
Okay. That's kind of my thought too. So guard 2.
So you're not going to tell us which guard Justin did pick?
Correct.
Not going to tell us guard 1 because we're going to pick our ultimate favorite, right?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
Guard 2 is Devin Carter. Guard 3, Nikola Topic. Guard 4, Keyshawn George out of Miami. Someone that I think is very underrated and might be a consideration at 12. Guard 5, Isaiah Collier out of USC. Any of those names surprise you, Justin, or is that kind of who you're thinking for some of the ones that you thought you might have?
I didn't know some of them.
Okay.
Topic was one that I felt pretty confident about.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the guy that I think one might be is still in contention.
Okay. Love it. All right. Moving on to the wings. A fun archetype. Because these guys can be very, very different as well. Wing 1 is a jumbo wing / forward. A slender build, has professional playing experience, is only 19 years old, and is a big recruit out of Europe. He has the chance to be an elite shooter in the NBA and projects to be an efficient jumbo secondary scorer. Solid rebounder. He pulled down 13 or more boards 3 times last season. Pretty underrated connector. Had a 7-assist game last season. Has shown some really good flashes of shot blocking on the defensive end, but he needs to get stronger if he's going to hold his own against some of the bigger wings and forwards in the NBA and like reach that versatile ceiling on that end of the floor that people think he can have. The scout quote: "What is the NBA all about? Shooting and positional size. Hello, wing 1 is everything teams should be clawing for in this draft. This kid isn't far off from being a 7-footer." Questions, thoughts on wing 1?
Jacob, I'm gonna let you lead this section a little bit.
I think I might have an idea of who wing 1 is.
But we're not doing that.
I know it's like 2 or 3 guys that kind of is in my mind. This feels Presti-ish. This feels Baisley, Poku, Usman Jangish to me.
The connector.
It's interesting.
The Poku connector.
Love it. All right. We will move
Shot
on.
blocking on defense like that. That feels nice. Needs to get stronger if he's going to hold his own. Like you said, Jacob, that feels familiar. That might give, like I said earlier, that might give some Thunder fans on the stream PTSD.
Yep.
But almost 7 foot. Yeah, almost 7 foot. Seems like there's a lot of upside, a lot of things to like. That's like you said, feels Presti-ish.
Yep. All right, wing 2. This guy's a jumbo wing with an athletic build. He was a Pac-12 award winner last season, who has an older brother who played college and then pro basketball and has a wide projected draft range. Okay. This guy, strengths and weaknesses, converted on roughly 40% of his threes last season. Decent rebounder for his size. Has connective passing upside as a wing forward. He had double-digit games with at least 4 assists last season. He's an efficient scorer. He has two-way potential, but like needs to prove that potential. Like it's there, but it's not every night. And he had more than a dozen games with more than 3 turnovers last season, which could turn some people off a little bit. Scout quote: "A big wing with the sweet shooting stroke isn't as easy to come by as many would think. Wing 2 should have a long career in the league, either as a quality starter or high-end piece off the bench."
I think I know who it is, and I think I like it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Don't let the bias influence you.
I
What do you
know,
think about
it's
this
hard.
prospect? What do you think about wing 2?
You've said a lot of
Jumbo.
really nice things, you know.
Jumbo, 40% from 3, decent rebounder, connective passing, efficient scorer, two-way potential. Like literally every bullet point is just like nodding my head. Like, yeah, the turnovers,
don't
like
scare
he
you?
said. It does, but again, kind of like we talked on some of the guards, like I context is key. I also think figuring out like the role this person would play, like is that a role where they're going to have the ball in their hands a ton and they're going to be put in positions to make 3 turnovers a game, or are they going to be playing a little bit differently?
Fair. All right, we'll move on to wing 3. If you guys have questions on wing 2 towards the end, when you're making your decision, we can come back. Wing 3, standard NBA wing height with a strong athletic build, played for a very well-known team last season. It's only 18 years old and a former top 10 high school recruit. We're talking blue chip. Vicious straight line driver, cutter and slasher, strong finisher, and a menace, a legit menace in transition on both ends of the floor. Scored 20 or more points 16 times last season, scored 30 points 4 times. Inconsistent jumper. See the looks on your face as I say that. That'll be a swing skill for sure. Could be the best point of attack defender in this class. Like has legit all defense upside. Had 11 games with 3 or more steals last season. Has the frame and tools to like legitimately defend 4 positions. Like maybe center is the only position he can't guard. And the scout quote, "Are you looking to build a lockdown defense? Stop what you're doing and draft wing 3."
Do you make the scout quotes up?
I make the scout quotes up.
Okay. I remember wanting to ask that last year, and I don't think I ever did.
Yeah. Taking the time to get a real scout quote for all these players would be long and intensive.
Come on.
What do you think?
This seems like Thunder 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like the Andre Robertson.
I was just about to say that. This is Dre.
Yep, this is Dre.
But Dre never tipped to push back. Dre never scored 20 or 30 points a bunch of times coming into the league.
Did he? He might have in college.
I don't think so.
I'm not confident enough either way. He definitely never did in the NBA.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I agree, Jacob. This one's not doing it for me.
Okay.
Again, I think there's a lot of things to like, but I don't know about filling the need for this Thunder team.
Okay. We'll move on to wing 4 then. Wing 4 is back to the jumbo wing forward, kind of like wing 1, but he's got a more sturdy build. Both of his parents and his sister played basketball at a very high level. Recently increased his stock in the postseason. He's only 18 years old. Still pretty raw as a prospect, but like coming around quickly. Not really a self-creator today, but he impacts the game away from the ball and is not a great three-point shooter, but he's getting better. Good motor and energy, like good natural feel. Like you watch him in a gym and you're like, that guy could be really good one day, but he's not like that guy yet. 9 games with 3 or more offensive rebounds last season, which I thought was interesting. Has a frame that projects that, like, when you look at the kid again in the gym, it's like you could see a world where he puts on weight. Like he's not this like skinny kid where you're like, he's going to be skinny forever. He's got that frame that looks like he could add some weight to it. Maybe allow him to play kind of small ball 5. And he split time last season as a reserve and a starter, kind of speaking to that kind of raw, like, what is he? He's doing some nice things, but like it's more of a vision with him. The scout quote, wing 4 has a lot of work to do as an on-ball prospect, but there's real reason to believe he can be a super versatile off-ball threat with some defensive upside too. What are your thoughts? Jacob, we'll start with you.
This one seems a lot more like a project to me. Is that accurate?
I would say scouts around the league are split on that theory. Like truly,
What a cop out.
that's actually true though. That's true. You talk to one person, they say, I think he has the tools to help this year. Talk to someone else, they're like, yeah, he's not touching a floor for 2 years.
I like the rebounding. I like the motor and energy.
Yeah, the motor and energy, natural feel, I like a lot. Improved 3-point shooter sounds nice. I don't know.
Like
This
it, love
one,
it, hate
this
it.
one
Where
just
you at?
feels like very, very project-y to me. I don't know.
Is that a like it, not a love it or hate it?
Yeah, that's where I'm
Yeah,
at.
probably so.
Okay. So wing 3 and 4, you guys don't like as much. Where are you guys at on wing 1 and 2 as we go into the last one?
They're all starting to bleed together, to be honest.
Okay.
We're going to have to do a quick
Okay.
recap after wing 5.
We'll go back to wing 1 and 2 because you guys had good things to say about them, and we'll stop at wing 5. Wing 5 is a jumbo wing with a slender build. Played for a Power 5 school last year. He'll be 20 early in his rookie season. A former top 10 high school recruit, like a lot of these guys are. Effective around the rim. Actually shot 60% or better on 2-pointers last year. He's proven he can step out and shoot threes, but he hasn't taken a lot of them. Interestingly enough, given all the information above, he's not a great rebounder either. He's flashed some passing upside, but not the ability to be a primary handler. Still pretty skinny until he adds more weight. He may not ever reach his ceiling. Struggle with physicality on really both ends of the floor last season, but he did have 6 games with multiple blocks. The scout quote is, "I'm not sure what to make of wing 5 at this point, but his tools and skill set are very intriguing. During certain points of the recent college season, he looked like a top pick. Other times, completely disappeared." Justin, we'll start with you.
Well, low
What
volume.
sticks out? What sticks out in a good way?
Yeah. Passing. Passing is nice. Effective around the rim. The rest, I think, it's a lot. It feels like a lot of potential, but not a lot proven. Proven 3-point shooter, but low volume. Is that proven then? We jumped ahead, Nick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think that might have been me.
Oh,
Let's get ahead of himself over here.
Not a great rebounder. Skinny. Struggled with physicality.
That part kind of worries me.
That all
a
makes
bit.
me nervous.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that he's 20, right? I think you can live with some of those things for somebody that's like some of these other guys we've talked that are 18.
Mm-hmm.
When you're 20 and you're having some of those notes, that makes me a little more concerned.
So would you consider this guy, or should we just go back to 1 and 2 and recap those?
I'd say it's between 1 and 2.
Okay.
I think so as well.
Okay, let's go back to 1 and 2. Wing 1 was the jumbo wing forward, slender build, 19, the shot blocking, and the chance to be a jumbo shooter. Scout said he's damn near 7 foot. Hit a 7-assist game last season. That's wing 1. Wing 2 was 40% of his threes, decent rebounder, had some turnovers, wide draft range. That's wing 2. Where are you guys at between wing 1 and 2?
Justin, I don't know about you. I feel better with wing 1.
I was going to say I'm kind of leaning 2.
Interesting.
Let's ask some questions and we'll get down to it.
I like the offensive prowess and some of those notes on wing 2. That's primarily what was driving my affinity.
Okay.
Will you go back to the wing 1 slide again, Nick?
Of course.
I do say wing 1, if he's almost 7 foot and the first bullet has a chance to be an elite shooter.
Let me tell you this.
Good combo.
Wing 1 and 2 are less than an inch apart in height.
Okay.
So if it's the height
from
that scout quote that's influencing you, it's not that far off.
Mm-hmm.
Wing 1 feels more thundery to me, Justin. I don't know. The connector piece,
Yeah.
shot blocking.
Strong.
Needs to get stronger is a little
let
worrisome,
me throw you
but
two stats. Let me throw you two stats.
Okay.
Wing 1 shot 27% from 3. Wing 2 shot 40% from 3.
Come on down to Wing 2 town, Jacob.
what are the attempts for both?
Roughly 3 and 5.
Wing 1 took 3. Wing 2 took 5
and shot 40%.
Okay, Wing 2.
Okay. Wing 2 it is. So
I like it.
I'll tell you who these people are. Wing 1 is Matas Buzelis.
That's what I thought. Okay. I like him a lot.
Wing 3, Ron Holland, who you guys said was more like Thunder 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
Wing 4, Tidjon Salon. People say Salone. I say Salon. That's what I've been told his last name, Salon. Could be a Thunder guy. So that's why I point out the pronunciation of the last name. We may be saying it a lot on the pod. Wing 5, to y'all's surprise, is Cody Williams.
Wow.
Okay.
So everyone in the chat saying Wing 2 is Cody Williams.
Cody Williams.
It is not Cody Williams. Wing 5 is Cody Williams.
Fascinating.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to the bigs.
Hey, before we do, should we take a break?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we will take a break. We will be back right after this to do the 5 big men in the draft. We will be right back.
All righty.
And we are back. Nick,
We are back.
let's get to it.
Let's do the bigs. All right. Big one. He's going to be so much fun because I think this is like everybody wants one of these guys. Big one is a true 7-footer with a solid frame and projects to continue to like fill out and even get stronger than he already is. Played for a Power 5 school, just turned 20, a former top 10 high school recruit who possesses a unique blend of touch and strength. He could knock down threes, but also has like a nice mid-range turnaround game for a 7-footer. Averaged a double-double. His defensive rebound percentage was better than 25% last season. A great shot blocker and a mobile athlete who logged a block in all but 4 games last year. Sometimes makes like silly mistakes and like loses his motor, which is like the big knock on him. I think what's interesting about big one, there's a lot of bigs in this class, even like all the way up to like the top bigs in the class that didn't play a lot. Like there's questions about durability. They average like 20 to 25 minutes a game. This guy played 30 plus minutes in 22 games and at least 20 minutes in every game. So like the durability and the conditioning is there. It's just like the motor and the consistency is the problem. Scout quote, he's a 7-footer who can change the game defensively while also shooting better than 40% from beyond the arc. This former McDonald's All-American was built for the NBA.
I feel like I'm being pushed to choose this guy. That's a lot of very nice things to say about somebody.
It is.
I mean, a lot of nice things, but like if your motor and consistency isn't there, what is it? Like what is that stuff at that point?
Is it unreasonable to say that feels like something the Thunder could fix?
I completely agree.
This feels like the I can fix him meme. Like everything else, like Jacob said, is amazing. Touch and strength, knockdown shooter, averaged a double-double, shot blocker, mobile athlete. Like, okay, I'm sold. If you're not going to get motivated out there competing for a Western Conference championship alongside Chet Holmgren, like that should help your motor.
I agree.
I like this one so far.
Good. It's a good start.
We've done one, and so far I like number 1.
Okay. Big 2 is a forward/center. Strong NBA ready frame. Last year was a conference player of the year and defensive player of the year. Is a former top 50 high school recruit. He's proven he can knock down triples consistently. Can probably play either front court spot at the NBA level, depending on who it's next to. Great shot blocker, good at moving in space on the defensive end, good positional passer, He does the little things and makes hustle plays. Maybe he's what makes him the most special is like he's a good screener and he's really good in pick and roll, which is like big in the NBA, obviously. Assist percent of nearly 20% last season as a center, which is bonkers. But he did have 6 games shooting sub 40% last year, including 3 under 25% as a big. Scout quote, "My favorite thing about Big 2 is his ability to get to the line. He took almost 300 free throws last season and converted at a solid rate." This is a college player. 300 free throws in a
It's a lot.
30-ish game season is a lot.
But
Jake,
apparently
better not be
can't
Googling, buddy.
I'm
score
not.
from anywhere else on the floor other than the free throw line potentially. That last bullet point's real hard to get over. 6 games shooting under 40% from the floor, including 3 under 25. The passing is great. The shot blocker sounds good. The NBA ready frame sounds good. It's starting to give me like a little bit. It's not a perfect comp, but like Jay Will-ish stuff going on there.
I kind of felt that too. The screening, the pick and roll, the assist percentage, proven to knock down triples consistently. Can you give me like percentage and attempts?
Yep, sure can. I'm not going to give you exact numbers in case you are doing some Googling there, Mr.
I'm not
Mifflin.
Googling. I am Googling when the urgent care
Well,
opens, Nick. Not,
oh, yeah. Fair
What's
enough.
the dog doing?
What the dog doing? For the people in the chat that probably do have Google open, I'll give you some round numbers. He was between 37.5 and 40% from 3, somewhere in that range. And he took between 2 and 3 a game.
Okay.
Like
Got
it,
to the
don't
line
love
a
it.
lot. Say it again.
Like it, don't love it.
Okay.
Getting to the line for what it's worth is a great thing.
That's a great thing. We already have Shea though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
How old is this player?
And can that translate to the NBA
yeah,
as a big?
that's a good
and you're
point too.
like, I don't know. That's the question. Jacob, I won't give you an official age. What I'll tell you is he will not yet be 22 on draft night. So he's below 22.
Okay. So he's older.
Older.
This isn't a
He's
19-year-old.
below 20. He's below 22. He could be 16.
Touche.
Unbelievable.
Okay. We'll move on to Big 3.
Got 300
three.
free throws in the junior high league.
Big 3. He is another forward center kind of combo. Strong NBA ready frame again. Played for a Power 5 school last year. He'll be 21 years old early in his rookie season. Former top 10 high school recruit. The cool thing with him, he moves with the fluidity of a wing. Can play either 4 or 5. That's more of a guarantee than the guy before where it was like depending on fit. This guy feels like he could play either way. Great playmaker for his size, generally makes good decisions. He has been turnover prone at times, but it's because he's a high usage big. Can create with the ball in his hands. He had a game this season where he was 2 assists away from a 28-point triple-double with points, rebounds, and assists. Solid 3-point shooter. Although he's a 7-footer, like doesn't really have like an interior game. Like he's not going to like back you down and make moves. He's more of like a perimeter-oriented 7-footer. And he knocked down multiple triples in more than a quarter of his games last season as a 7-footer. Scout quote, during his basketball career, Big 3 has proven that he can play as a traditional 5 or as a 4 next to another center. Like for his entire career, that's been something he's done. That should be intriguing to teams who already have a quality big, as they should feel comfortable sliding him right into the rotation. Jacob's.
I know you don't want to give specifics.
Yeah.
So let me ask this.
Okay.
As a rebounder, poor, moderate, or elite?
I'll give you 2 stats. I will give you. He averaged better than 8 rebounds a game. And his rebound percentage, his defensive rebound percentage is 23. So he's like not a glass eater like an Andre Drummond, but like those are respectable numbers for 7-footer.
Okay.
Like don't take the fluidity of a wing and like plays on the perimeters like he's never in there getting rebounds.
What do you
Compared
think,
to 1
Justin?
and 2, what do you guys think of big 3?
They
kind of feel like they're in order for me so
I
far.
like
1, 2, and then 3.
Yeah, that's fair. I like the versatility. Like I can tell what you're doing with the scout quote on this one. When you're thinking about trying to find somebody to go next to Chet, feels like there's a lot there to like. The lack of interior game, that one I think is a little hard because you would, in my mind, you want somebody that has like something that you can go to in the post when you need to. I don't think that the Thunder are going to drastically change the way they play. I know we've talked about this offseason already, right? I don't think they're ever going to have a scenario where they're just like feeding a guy in the post. But as a complementary piece, I think you'd like to have something down low. And maybe this guy does. It's just not reliable.
Yeah.
How is this guy as a defender?
He is not known for being an incredible elite shot blocking center who's going to change you defensively. I wouldn't say he's a bad defender.
Okay, you
that's
just
not
said,
his
like,
archetype.
shot blocking defender, but you're also saying he's versatile offensively. Can he get out and move his feet with like NBA 4s? Like if he's got to get out there and guard a,
I'll say he can he can hold his own in space against most. He's not like Chet, where it's like he could switch on to anybody and you kind of feel okay with him, you know?
Okay,
he's
so
not
we're
Carmelo
talking
Anthony
about
getting cooked.
versatility, and he could play at the 4 next to Chet, but he's not as versatile as a defender as Chet.
Yes,
I don't know how I feel about number 3.
I'll say about number 3, we'd probably play him as a 4 on offense and a 5 on defense.
Yeah. Is he more of a drop guy?
Probably, yeah.
Probably in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm feeling number 3, Justin.
Okay.
Agreed.
It's fair enough. So 1 and 2 are the guys so far. Big 4. This is a true 7-footer. Okay. Athletic build, Power 5 school. There's my spelling error. All defensive team. Just turned 20 and played high school basketball at one of the top programs in the country. He's a freaky athletic rim runner and lob threat. He's stronger than he looks. He's an athletic build, but he's like stronger than like most athletic guys. You can just like tell their freak athleticism, but he's like actually got a strong frame as well. Multiple 5-block games last season, had 5 games with 5 or more offensive boards. So that dude's just like hustle mania, ball hunter, getting the offensive boards. Was second in his Power 5 conference, which, spoiler, we're talking like a top 2 conference. He was second in the conference in offensive rating. He plays decisive and hard, but he's still pretty raw. Like he's the kind of guy like his ceiling is high, but you're gonna have to like really put the time and develop him to get there. And it'll explain why in the scout quote. He could often be undisciplined, overwhelmed, and like big moments can kind of be too much for him. Not a good 3-point shooter, not really a 3-point shooter at all, and not a good free throw shooter. Here's the kicker, and here's why some of those things may or may not scare you more. Scout quote: considering the fact that Big 4 didn't start playing basketball until 2020, it's unreal to see how far he's come. If he's truly just scratching the surface, he could be the biggest steal of this draft class.
I'm out.
How's that? You're out. You were out on Joel Embiid then back in the day too.
That's what I was just about to say. So this is Joel Embiid.
This doesn't feel like dominated is like freakish and has the upside of Embiid. This feels more to me like I'm trying to think of a good example here. James Wiseman isn't a good one. Does this guy self-create at all, Nick?
Not really.
Does he play make at all?
Play finish.
Okay. This Justin feels to me like a rim running, lob catching big.
Yep.
Who it
This
should
feels like-
remind you of is Serge Ibaka.
I
Based
was
on what
just
you're
about to say it's
describing.
Serge Ibaka.
Yeah.
It's Serge Ibaka.
That's a good. Yeah.
And for the Thunder, Serge Ibaka hit and was awesome. But how many other Serge Ibakas have there been that made it 2 years in the league and then are playing for the North Korean Basketball Association?
Justin, do you feel
NKB,
similarly? Are you out on Big Four?
It compared to 1 and 2, there's enough to be concerned about to not go here.
You love the upside though. You're that guy.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, what
I
if
love
he's
the
the
upside.
upside?
Number 4 maybe doesn't see the
Yeah.
court for 3 years.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I feel like number 4 here is we're talking about him every now and then because he had a nice G League game.
It's
he's
the same
never
type of
sniffing the big
swing
league.
as Poku. I
Yeah.
feel like, right? Poku's playing in the like second tier Greek league. Like,
This
Yeah,
guy was
who
top-
knows?
but this guy was top 2 conference, second in offensive rating, and all defensive team. So like it's not like he's just like
sure,
doing it against nobody.
sure.
Like I'll say this. I agree with you guys on all the points. I do not think he is anywhere close to a finished product. He probably won't play a ton in the NBA next season, but he does have like the little micro skills, like the rim running, the shot blocking, where like if you plug him in for 10 minutes, he could be like that really fun spark plug guy and actually be kind of important. Not that that should change your opinion, but like that's
for
how I
sure.
view this guy.
He doesn't feel like he fits what the current team needs to me.
Okay. All right. Big 5. This guy is a combo forward, kind of like the other couple guys we talked about that are more hybrid front court players. He's the size of a center, but he's more of a combo forward, meaning like he might actually be able to play some wing, depending on how you view this guy. A really mobile build. He's grown a bunch in recent years. He's just 19 years old and is a former 5-star recruit. He's a potential 3-and-D player. I'll put potential because the D is coming around. Like he shows flashes of being a good defender, but he's not great all the time on that end. But like you could be sold that like he could be a 3-and-D big, which is like really hard to come by. He knocked down a 3-pointer in 28 games last season, including 18 with 2 or more and 9 with 3 or more. He's extremely smooth with the ball. He can self-create. He can get to his spots. His 3-point shot is improving and teams believe in it. The mechanics are great. The percentages are not as good as you would think, given the stat above, but like teams buy it. He had 9 multi-block games last season, can score at all 3 levels, has intriguing moves in the paint too. Like he's not just a perimeter guy. He actually has some juice in the paint. To become 3-and-D, like I mentioned, the defense needs to be more consistent. The 3 needs to be more consistent. And he does struggle with contact to some degree, despite having a sturdy frame. But again, he's just
so to be a
19.
3-and-D, he's got to be able to play D and hit threes.
Potential 3-and-D, projected
I'm
3-and-D.
teasing,
Yes.
I'm
No. That's no. What you're saying is the counter argument to him as a prospect. Scout quote: Big 5 is as smooth as they come. Despite being nearly a 7-footer, he can handle the ball, create for himself, and even shoot. He's been playing in a pro system for quite some time now too. So I feel good about his game translating pretty quickly at the next level.
Does he have that dog, Nick?
I think yes. It's not like some of these guys, it's like Kaysen Wallace last year is like, yeah. This guy, I think he does, but I don't think he's like Kaysen level dog.
It's interesting. The has grown more in recent years with some of the comments that like he kind of plays more like a forward.
When you say grown, like physically or basketball game?
Like tall.
Okay.
That's how I was assuming.
Same.
Like he's grown up playing a forward, but now he just happens to be the size of a center. I think that is like, yeah, I can talk myself either way on that in terms of what the Thunder need
And it's like, what position does that guy play for the Thunder? Does he play
Exactly.
center? Or does he play 3 or 4?
How do you fit that potentially? How do you fit that next to Chet? I think that, man.
When you say struggles defensively, is it like motor issues? Is it like skill and athletic issues? Is it just not understanding concepts and being out of position issues?
Without giving it away, I think it is scheme issues that are not his fault.
Okay.
And level of competition at 19.
Okay. Justin, for me, it's 1, 2, or 5.
Agree. Rehash 1 and 2.
Yeah, real quick. Give us the TLDR.
1 was the 7-footer that has like the 3-point upside, the mid-range turnaround, average a double-double, good shot blocker, plays a lot of minutes, but the motor and the consistency are a problem. Big 2 was the hybrid forward center, strong frame, can knock down threes. We talked about he was like between 37.5 and 40% on 2 to 3 attempts. Good shot blocker, does the little things, high assist percentage, but the downside to Justin was like the sub 40 and sub 25% shooting. And then big 5 was this, he kind of grew into the size of a center, but like, what is he?
I don't know where you're at, Justin. 2 sounds intriguing to me just because the flaw, if the one flaw is like having games where they don't shoot well, like I don't think they're commandeering a ton of shots on this team.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and the shots they are going to get, I'm assuming if this person shot 300 free throws, they were like the focal point of their offense recently. That's not like in OKC, it's going to be like catch and shoot threes and lobs and not forced to self-create a lot. They're going to get good looks, which maybe cleans up that mess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the versatility here again is a plus. I think as you're thinking about building this team, I still think like seeing how they fit next to Chet and what that role could look like, having somebody that is a little more versatile probably makes that pairing a little bit easier. Yeah, I can be talked into 2.
So we're going big 2, huh?
Big 2.
All right.
Every time you said big 3, I kept thinking
Yes,
Kendrick Lamar line, by the way. Oh, not
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, I was thinking of the
Mother
Ice Cube
the big
League.
3. It's just big.
No, I was thinking Ice Cube.
Yeah, me too.
Oh.
Me too. All right, big 1. So you're going with big 2, yeah?
I think that's our choice.
Yeah.
Big 1, who you liked a lot, and I love, for what it's worth, Khalil Ware out of Indiana.
Okay, interesting.
Nice.
Doesn't get enough love. Big 3, Kyle Filipowski.
Okay, that makes sense.
Big 4, the one that started playing.
Is Big 4 the Baylor kid?
Yes, Yves Misi. He started playing basketball in 2020.
Seems like a great kid and could be a great basketball player, but so raw.
Yeah. I mean, he started playing basketball, like, we were like year 4 of the pod, and the kid started playing basketball. It's insane. Big 5 is Tyler Smith out of G League Ignite.
Okay.
So those are all names that maybe you didn't expect, because a lot of those guys are projected after the Thunder.
But before are we about to go on to the top 3 and make our choice?
Correct.
Before that, let's take our last break of the night, and then we'll talk some Dave's Hot Chicken on the other side. We will be right back. And we are back. Before Nick reveals the big 3, we make a decision and find out who the big 3 are. Justin, can you tell us about some hot chicken, please?
The East Hollywood pop-up sensation turned fast casual superstar Dave's Hot Chicken is bringing the heat to Oklahoma in Bricktown, Edmond, and now open in Chisholm Creek. Their mouth-watering sliders and tenders are offered at 7 spice levels, ranging from no spice to Reaper, which requires a signed waiver for those who dare. Each piece of hand-breaded chicken is spiced to order using a blend crafted specifically for its heat level or no spice at all. along with sides of house-made kale slaw, creamy mac and cheese, and crispy seasoned fries. Visit Dave's Hot Chicken at any of their 3 metro locations.
Guys, it is time for the hot take of the week. You can't see my face. There we go. Hot take of the week. It can be related to Nick's game, the draft, the finals, rumor season, etc. What is your guys' hot take this week? Don't both go at once.
My hot take is I think the final series is going back to Dallas.
Wow. I give that like medium. Like I feel like it's hot because I think Boston's the better team. And
I do too.
Games, they've been a way better team. But like
I do too.
As they say, if they win this game, it's a series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Boston wins tomorrow night. I think
so do I.
I think Jason Tatum finally has a game that's worthwhile. People will still crap on him on Twitter.
Yeah,
but I think Jason Tatum is like the reason they win that NBA Finals for the first time since 2008, whatever it is, 2005, 2008, whatever it is.
8,
I
think. Yeah,
Tatum MVP is my hot take.
Tatum MVP.
I'm going.
I think
medium
if you win the
take,
clinching game, like I know he's like Twitter only talks about his negative, like multiple negative or minus 30 games in the box score, and he's being carried, but like there's just as much good with Jason Tatum, and he realizes I don't have to be a shot chucker for my team to be really good.
Yeah,
if he has a big game tomorrow night, I think he gets Finals MVP. Assuming Jaylen Brown doesn't also go off.
Yeah, that's fair.
I go medium on that take. Nick, you got a take ready to go?
That was my take.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were expanding on Justin's.
No. I was saying my take is that Tatum wins MVP.
Oh,
I think that's hot.
I thought Jacob was giving me medium for Jason Tatum.
No, I was giving Justin medium for the series going back to Dallas. I'm giving you maybe extra hot for Tatum.
Okay.
I will say my hot take is the Thunder draft one of the 3 guys Justin and I chose tonight.
Oh, that's no spice. It's gonna happen. Never not happened.
Go.
Nick knows the names, so I'm
not necessarily because of the names, just because like to pick the guy at 12 that's actually on the board that Presty likes. Good luck. Good luck.
We did it once.
We did. We're 1 for 1.
All right, Nick, you ready to
let's do it.
Finish this bad boy up?
Yes. All right. To recap, who you guys went with. Your guard was guard 1. Recap this real quick. Standard height, 40% from 3. He's the guy that had a bunch of games with 5 made threes, a couple with 8 made threes, had 3 30-point games late in the season, got better as the season went on. Off-ball guy. Scout thinks that he's one of the most underrated guys in this class. Wing 2 was our wing candidate, who maybe you thought was Cody Williams, and that's why you liked him so much. Surprise, he's not. But he is a Pac-12 award winner. He does have an older brother who played college and then pro basketball.
In the North Korean League.
I know Nick too well that like this felt like a red herring. You wouldn't put that in there if it was Cody.
No. For the chat, thought so. Connected passing upside, 40% of his threes on 5 attempts. 2-way potential if his defense comes around. Big wing, sweet shooting. Could be a starter, could be a really good bench piece. Just like a wing that just feels like he can be really, really, really helpful as a perimeter scorer. Like, to me, an NBA comp would be like a Cam Johnson. Like, he's good off the ball. He makes a lot of threes. He's a jumbo wing.
So who's your NBA comp for the guard?
Give me.
Not saying they're going to be as good as this player, but like a play style.
Tyrese Maxey.
Okay.
And then big 2 was your guy, the forward center. You can play maybe both positions depending on the situation. 1 player of the year and D point is conference. Can knock down threes. Good shot blocker, high assist rate, but had a handful of games this season that were just like, ugh, that shooting percentage is awful. Gets to the line a bunch too, 300 free throws. Comp for this guy. Give me a blend of Isaiah Stewart and Naz Reid.
Oh God. Okay. Big 2 is my vote, Justin.
Don't go off my comps.
That
I'm just like trying to
dog
I'm helping you envision the player. I'm not saying
Yeah.
they're the same.
Oh, Jacob had a
mindset
vision, all
or-
right.
Yeah, no kidding,
I
you did.
think that's the style of player they need. And so if you can draft that guy,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
I agree.
How old is Big 2?
Let me give you the age for all 3.
Okay.
The guard is, I'll give you exacts because we're at a point now. If you look it up and cheat, that's on you. The guard is currently, or draft age is 20.3.
Okay.
The wing is 23.1.
Wow.
Wow.
And the big is 21.8, almost 22.
I'm going the big, Justin. I don't know
I
about
agree.
you.
I agree.
We're going the big.
All right. I
Reveal the other 2
will
first.
re- okay. The 2
We'll
so
take another break.
I was surprised at guard 1 being the guy. So to recap, the guards that were not picked: Devin Carter, Nikola Topic, Keyshawn George, Isaiah Collier. You guys picked Jared McCain out of Duke.
Okay.
Is that who you thought, Justin?
No.
I thought it might
Who'd
be
you
the
think it
Pittsburgh
was?
kid.
Bub?
I thought it might be Bub. I also thought his name is escaping me as soon as you asked me the question. The Kentucky kid.
Rob Dillingham?
Rob Dillingham. Or
Yeah,
Reed Shepard.
No, Reed Shepard.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought it might have been Dillingham too, but
Okay. It is Jared McCain.
okay.
For
Interesting.
guard 1. The wing, you guys should know based on the age and the
This
Cody
is the Colorado
Williams.
kid.
Yeah, Tristan Da Silva was the wing you guys picked. What's funny is there was a lot of guys that are projected around 12. There's a handful of guys that are projected way ahead of 12. All 3 guys you guys picked are projected at least 3 to 10 picks away from 12. So like what you're telling me is trade back based on what you guys picked.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Jared McCain's like a just outside the lottery. Da Silva is like a 15 to 20 kind of guy. The bigs, let me recap the wings you said no to. Buzelis, Holland, Salon, Cody Williams. The bigs you said no to were Ware, Filipowski, Misi, and Smith. The big you picked, tell me you guys know who it is.
Is it Deron Holmes?
It's Deron Holmes.
I'm kind of coming around on him. I like him.
Well, based on this, you sure
He seems
do.
like he seems.
Yeah.
I haven't delved into the draft a whole bunch. Deron Holmes gives me like less upright and a more versatile Obi Toppin.
Less upright. What does
Obi
that mean?
Toppin feels like he can't bend his knees.
Or his neck.
What? But he jumps so high.
I can't explain it, but I get it, Jacob.
Yeah. Is that a good comp, Nick? Deron Holmes is like Obi Toppin, but better.
No.
Oh, okay.
Obi, like in college, was like this transition, floor running, under the leg dunk. Like Deron is a big dude. Like Deron Holmes is 6'10", 240. Like that's a big dude. Like not that he can't like jump and catch lobs and dunk, but he's not like ripping a guy on the perimeter and dribbling down and doing like under the legs dunk. I think there's things that both of those guys have in common, but stylistically, I think they're pretty different.
I'm in on Deron Holmes.
Are you in on Obi
We're
Toppin?
manifesting
Maybe that's
it.
a question too.
Am I in on Obi Toppin? He's been a lot better, but I don't think he's a great fit for the Thunder.
I agree.
For
what it's worth, let's go through for 30 seconds here. Deron Holmes, again, older prospect, but last season at Dayton, it was his third season. He averaged 20 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 2 blocks, a steal, shot 38.6% from 3 on 2.5 attempts. I will say the 2 seasons prior, he shot 14% and 31% from 3. So, like, if you buy the shooting,
progression,
which is why it's good. The reason that going back to school was great for him is because this time last year, he was viewed as like a traditional big. He shot half a 3 a game at 31%. This year it was 38% on almost 3 attempts. So,
Nick, you muted yourself. Uh-oh.
LOL.
Is Nick perma muted?
Nick just banned himself.
Uh-oh. Well, Justin, I don't know. Deron Holmes seems like an interesting
I agree.
option to me.
I wouldn't hate it.
There's lots of folks who are talking Deron Holmes as like a viable Thunder target at 12.
Yep. Why not?
Let me ask you this. Do you think they make a pick at 12?
Man. I'll say no just because the odds are in the Thunder's favor to not, right? Like, even if it's 11 or 13, right? There's so many moves at the Thunder's disposal, and we know Presti loves a draft night trade.
It's going to be fun. All right. Nick is having technical difficulties, so we will let him exit early. And Justin, we're already at an hour 20, so I think we call it as well.
I think we call it. That was fun. That game never disappoints.
Always a great one with Justin and Nick running it. Thank you, Justin, for doing the guards for me while I was out of commission for a second.
You bet.
We will be back Wednesday with another draft guest. So make sure to tune in Wednesday night. Uh-oh. The Crane Man is back. Hi, Nick.
I can hear him clicking.
Wednesday night, we will have a draft guest, so make sure to tune in then. Smoot says we got to answer the super chats before we get out of here, Justin.
Ah, yes. We did get some super chats because we're in the middle of a game. So, Jacob, I'm going to ask you. David Skelton asked, better next year, Oos or Keontae?
Ooh, better for who? Thunder or the Blue?
I'm going to say Oos, but I had this thought driving down the street yesterday. So David Skelton, great timing on this. I think Keontae Johnson will play a role on a semi-regular basis for the Thunder next season.
Nice. I'll go Oos as well, but Keontae wouldn't surprise me. Keontae's got the dog that Oos does not.
We also have an appreciation from Nick Jordan of Nick's evil stance. Nick, I don't even know if you did this or knew you did this, but I was thinking it, and then Nick Jordan super chatted it. You're sitting there like this.
Oh, like the GIF where it's like, I trade you nothing.
Yeah.
Yes,
I receive, you receive nothing.
Yes. I love it.
We also have another one from Nick. Hot take. Silver's expansion is weak sauce.
Dang.
How do we feel about the proposed expansions?
I think expansion in general is good. I don't know if I'm
Agreed.
an expansion expert, but like, as long as you don't do it like hockey expansion, the teams that expand are always like
good
contenders
really
the next
good.
year and like win the cup. It's like, that should not be the case. Like you should be competitive enough to have a fan base that's like excited to be around you, and you win, maybe like a play-in level team. But if you're set up in a way where you're like competing for a championship year one, expansion is not working. So maybe Silvers is better than the NHL commissioners.
Agreed. There you go. That's all she wrote.
Awesome. Join us Wednesday as we have another draft guest. Next Sunday, the last pod before the draft, where we'll make a lot of predictions. And then the Wednesday after that, it is draft night. Make your plans to come hang out with us for the Uncontested draft live stream. We'll be on for the entire first round. It's going to be a blast. It's always a blast. We've been doing it since 2020. It's a really good time. So make sure to make plans to join us. You guys have a great beginning of your week. We will talk Wednesday night. Until then, and as always, Thunder up.